UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Hello viewers, you're most welcome to the program Safe Life. My name is Ishimi Kathy and today I am at Uganet. I'm with the Executive Director, Ms. Naiga. Grace, you're most welcome to the show. Please say hello to the viewers.
Hello our dear viewers, I'm happy to be with you and to speak to you today. Uganet has been in existence since 1999 and it was formed by a group of lawyers and health workers at the time when the HIV scourge was on the rise, and there were so many human rights violations. Everyone was addressing the scourge at the time health-wise, but the human rights violations around the disease were neglected. So the organization was formed to address the human rights barriers, the ethical issues around the disease, and to protect the rights of those that were positive or affected in a certain way.
How does the program benefit people with disabilities? Are they in any way also involved? Because I believe that those who are having those disabilities, but are they helped in any way within? Are they considered?
Thank you so much. So Uganet has very many programs that it is running. First of all, at its inception, and as it has progressed on with years, we've been focusing on different thematic areas in order to achieve social justice for the vulnerable communities that we support. And in doing so, we've been running under 4 thematic areas. One which is access to justice, where we are registered as a legal aid service provider. We have a team of lawyers, a legal aid clinic, and we are supporting communities to access justice. But we also do a lot of advocacy. To go back to the theme as to why the organization was created, we do a lot of advocacy around policies and laws that promote stigma and criminalize some practices, and also HIV as a whole. So in doing that, we try to work with different stakeholders. We do strategic litigation cases, and we advocate around laws and policies that we think are not appropriate and need to be amended or even repealed. We also strengthen partnerships, and we ensure that we promote partnerships with different stakeholders, with government, for us to be able to achieve on our mandate, because we believe we cannot work in isolation as an organization. Yes, but also core to our work, and which brings us to Rising Woman today, is that we also promote gender equality, and we have programs around ending violence against women and girls, under which we run this particular program. So in our work, we have realized that there are several people that we leave behind unintentionally. And going back to the Vision 2030 on leaving no one behind, we realized that as a country we are leaving behind people that are living with disabilities. And so as an organization, we worked around the clock to include in our programs programs that would ensure that we are supporting persons living with disabilities. How we support them, going back to your question, is that we ensure that they access our services the way anyone else that would access them. We give them legal aid services. We have an online call center that ensures that they can access services at any time. They can talk to a lawyer no matter where they are across the country. But we also have Rising Woman and Wellness Center. Yes.
What exactly goes on when you talk about the Wellness Center?
The Wellness Center. Yes, thank you so much. So Rising Woman and Wellness Center is a GBV shelter home that was established at the time when we had the global pandemic of COVID at its peak. And the background around its establishment was that at that time we saw a lot of human rights violations, especially around women and girls. People were trapped in their homes. People were stuck, they could not access services. The media reported a lot of deaths at that time as a result of domestic violence because people were trapped in their homes with perpetrators. And so Uganet at that time thought of creating a safe space, a healing space, a space that would ensure that survivors of GBV would be rescued and supported to overcome their trauma, to heal, but also to access justice. So Rising Woman is established to ensure all those that we receive a survivor. We take them through healing, psychosocial support, addressing issues around trauma, medically supporting them, especially for those that really have physical injuries as a result of the violence they have undergone, but also mentally supporting them, giving them a resting place, a safe space where they are not judged, and then also working with the legal team at Uganet to ensure that they access justice and they are heard.
What does it cost for one to be under Uganet, or to be supported, or to be rescued in case I'm going through different traumas around there, or maybe gender-based violence?
Okay, thank you so much, Kathy. So our services are free. Uganet was established as a social justice organization to promote human rights. So all the services that we offer are free. When you come to our offices, to the legal aid clinic, you'll be attended to by lawyers without paying any fee. Everything is met by our funding partners. But also, when you want to come to Rising Woman, and you're out there and you feel that these services is something that you could benefit from, all you can do is just call us, because we have a toll-free line that is connected to Rising Woman. You just have to call, and then a rescue will be arranged if you're trapped, and then you'll be brought to Rising Woman, but it is all at no cost.
Well, how about somebody who is out there and does not know about Uganet, who's probably in some remote area in Uganda and has never heard about it? And trust me, there are very many that are going out, they're going through this. How are you managing to help them? And in case I'm out there and probably watching on TV right now and I do not know what I'm supposed to do to get to you, what do I do? Where do I run to? And who do I talk to?
Yes, thank you so much. And that's really critical for us. So as an organization, our different thematic areas are interconnected. We conduct very, very many activities around the entire country, and in doing so, we always ensure that we promote our online toll-free line. We ensure that we tell all our partners across the country about the good services, but even forums like this one, like for example, I could share the toll-free number and also maybe give the location of where we can be found. And over time, we've been working with different partners. For example, we've worked a lot with the police. This particular shelter home has actually housed very many survivors of violence that have come through our partner connections. So through the different partnerships that we have, if someone reached out to police and they mentioned that they are not safe, or the police determines that they are not safe, we are just a call away. We are just a call away, and once we are called upon, we prepare rescue as long as we've done an assessment, and this is someone that is fit to be within our shelter home.
Okay.
Yes.
There could be a mother out there going through this, but most of the times they say, I'm going through this because I have children, I can't go anywhere. What would you advise such a mother, or maybe a young girl who is going through that but cannot pull herself out to come and seek for help? How do you help such people?
Thank you so much, Kathy. So one thing about violence, especially violence within a domestic setting or intimate partner violence, is that usually it is a cycle. It doesn't stop. It only has episodes. It will come, it will stop, it will come back. So we always tell survivors that they have the power within to cause the change that they want to see in their lives. And maybe that is something that someone that's listening or watching could probably not know. But everyone has the power to cause the change around themselves. And so many of the times we encourage them to break the shell, because there's so much that goes on around different people in their lives, especially in the domestic setting. From our social norms, we've been taught as women never to talk about such things. You're not allowed to talk about them. You will not complain. Even going to the police, exactly. And even going to the police alone could be an issue. But we encourage such people to seek help.
Literally be against you.
Exactly. There are very many structures that could support. At local council level, we have the Nabachalas, at police, at village level, the LCs, but also at police, and even Uganet alone. So even when someone is not very sure, they could at least talk to a councillor through our helpline, which is free. So you do not have to have airtime in case you're out there and you're doubting, you're not sure whether the decision you want to make is the right one. At least you could make the first step by calling out to the lawyers or the councillors, and there will be someone to talk to you and to encourage you to break that shell and ensure that you're supported. One thing we know that people get stuck in relationships, and most times it's because they don't know that the law can protect them. You do not have to be a working mother to be able to live with your children. You can be a stay-home mother, and the law can order your spouse on the other side to take care of you and the children. But many people do not know that. Yes.
Do not know.
So
Sit and think it's just in the husband's hands to do whatever that he can.
exactly. But the law protects women, the law protects children. We have the Domestic Violence Act, which is very, very good. So all they need to do is to just reach out for support. They could work with our lawyers, even online, to advise them on the next steps of what they need to do in order for them to escape the violence and move away from the violence setting.
When you look at Uganet in general, from the time you started and until today, what are some of the achievements that you look at?
So Uganet started as a small organization, and over time we've been expanding. We're operating a legal aid clinic that uses a beam light model, and our lawyers are enabled to reach all clients across the country through that model. That alone for us is a success, and we've been able to support very many of the clients that we support in the different communities. But also working with different structures, we've been able to work with 56 district human rights committees to ensure that we support and promote human rights within the different districts where we are working. But we have also been able to establish different district offices, and we are still expanding. So we have an office in the Eastern region in Tororo, we have offices in Kasese, we have offices in Vundibujo, and we are opening offices in refugee settlements in West Nile and in Chegegwa district. And for us, all those are like successes. We've also been able to strongly contribute to human rights promotion within the country through working with different stakeholders. Like I told you, we work closely with the police, and because of that we've been able to support very many women and girls that find themselves as survivors of violence, people that have gone through human trafficking. Uganet has been there to work with the police to support them, to give them temporary shelter, and all that is success that we have been able to achieve. But also maybe specifically to say that the rising woman that we have talked about for us was a great success, because at the time when the need was at its highest is when Rising Woman was established. And because of that, the shelter home has been able to accommodate more than 101 girls and women. Right now we've made it disability inclusive, and we are able to facilitate but also to support persons living with disabilities. Like you have seen, it's accessible for all the facilities in here. So it is able to accommodate, and it's inclusive of all. And all that for us is a success. The shelter is governed by regulations. We have a license to operate it. And because of that, we are governed by rules of this country. And so we go through a criteria to determine who is fit. First of all, it's a women's shelter, which would mean that it's not accessible for males. It's only for women, and definitely men cannot access the shelter. But also it must be someone that is a survivor of violence. So we would love to support everyone, but we put in place those restrictions. We can take in a mother with their children, but only for as long as maybe the male children are below 9 years. So we look at all those and then we determine and we take the person in. But yes, to go back to your question, beyond Rising Woman and Shelter Home, there's so much that we do. There are clients that come and all they need is legal aid. All they need is to be supported to go to courts of law. There are men also face violence, but the percentages of women are more. The police just received the police annual crimes report of 2022, and it indicates it has huge percentages of women that have gone through a lot of violence, including sexual, gender-based violence. But also when you look at the scale of how many people are accessing services, again, it's on the other way around. More men are reporting cases to police than women. What does that tell you? The social norms in our communities have taught us as women to keep quiet and never talk about these things. And because of that, we are intentionally putting in place programs that are specifically targeting women and girls, because we would want to achieve gender parity. We would want to see that there's equal access to services for everyone. We would want to see fairness, equality in our community, where women and girls and also men are treated the same without having the other gender above the other.
Well, I believe despite all the achievements that you mentioned,
yes,
there are certain challenges you definitely face as a center. What are those challenges that you keep facing over and over again?
So I'll speak to the systematic ones and then speak to the ones that we have at the organization level. So for example, like Rising Woman, we would love to see that we have enough space that would accommodate everyone, but of course we have restrictions. There are so many women out there that might not meet our criteria, and because of that we leave them behind. We would love to see that we have funds and a space that would accommodate more than we can take in right now. So that is a challenge, but also the fact that 12% of our communities as a country persons that are living with disabilities, and so we find ourselves sometimes with barriers in the programs that we have, that sometimes we are not able to provide for those that are in that community. Maybe we do not have enough sign language interpreters, or we cannot afford Braille, which would enable the blind to be able to, to access information. But also beyond that, we are seeing the narrative around the laws and the practices around the country. We are seeing a rise of gender-based violence, and it's taking a different form. This year's theme around on Women's Day is around digital, addressing the barriers, ensuring that the digital platforms, do not promote violence against women. And we are seeing a lot of that. Many women, especially journalists, by the way, I've been reading statistics, and about 78% of them have faced online violence, the women. So we are seeing that the system and the laws that we have in place are not being enforced, and they are not protecting women as they ought to. But we're also seeing good laws that have been shelved, like the domestic violence law, which has not come into play, which we think that would protect and promote women better. So we see a lot of women struggling even to go through the justice system. For example, women that are in cohabiting relationships, they do not receive equal treatment as women that are legally married. But yet when you look at it, some of them have actually been in these relationships longer than those that are legally married. So how the law can be changed to enable and promote their rights within these relationships is also something critical. So at the system level, but also what we face internally as Uganet.
Well, as we wrap up, so what is your appeal to the government and to the general public?
So my appeal to the government, the stakeholders, the partners that we work with, the different organizations that promote women's rights is to power in, to promote human rights for women and girls, for us to achieve the equality that we are struggling with, and to ensure that we address the structural barriers and also the other barriers that we have in the country in addressing issues around women and girls. Yes, and to our stakeholders, the enforcement of the law is something that we are not seeing. It has gaps. We have the laws, yes. We have the laws around female genital mutilation. We have the laws around domestic violence. Their promotion, their awareness, other people aware of the laws, other officers aware of the laws, can they enforce them, is something that I think we need to reflect on deeply as a country for us to be able to achieve gender parity. First of all, thank you so much to UBC for having hosted us and allowed us to speak to the communities, to thank our different development partners that support us in this work on a daily, the government of Uganda that supports us, the different institutions that we work with, and also our other partners in this work that we work with, and everyone else that has been watching us, thank you so much. And lastly, to say that our services are free. I have to mention that again. And to say that Uganet is there to listen to you, to walk you through the journey, to help you to access justice, and also to give you that space, safe space where you would heal, where you would overcome your trauma. So you can reach us. Our physical office is at Plot 19, Valley Road, Ministers Village in Ntinda. Yes, I'll not give you the location of our shelter. The rules do not allow that. But we can also be reached through the toll-free line. You will not be charged any fee. You do not have to have airtime, and you can call on this number. It is 0800 333 123. Can I repeat it? 0800 333 123. You will be attended to by a counselor and a lawyer.
Okay, thank you very much. It was really nice having you on the show.
Thank you so much, Kathy.
If you're out there and going through gender-based violence or any kind of violence, please feel free to come to Uganet, because Uganet is the only way to go for you. If you need any kind of help, just literally come out. You yourself, you're the person that can get yourself out of this situation that you're in. And Ishimwe Kathy, your right is your responsibility.
UBC